Lesson learned from my grandfather. One of the most important lessons I learned came from my grandfather. He taught me the value of patience. My grandfather was a very calm and patient person, and he always told me that good things take time. Whether it was fixing something in his house or working in his garden, he always took his time and did everything carefully. He believed that patience was essential to success and happiness. One day I was frustrated because I couldn't learn a new skill as quickly as I wanted. I wanted to give up, but my grandfather realized this and told me a story. He explained how he learned carpentry when he was young. It took him many years to become proficient, and at first he made a lot of mistakes. He said he almost gave up, but he kept reminding himself that learning takes time. Eventually, with practice and patience, he became very good at it. Since that day, I have tried to be more patient in my life. I remember my grandfather's story whenever I feel frustrated. Whether it's learning something new or waiting for a result, I remember that patience can help me achieve my goals. This lesson has also helped me stay calm in difficult situations, which makes me feel more in control. In conclusion, my grandfather's lesson of patience had a great impact on my life. He taught me that good things are worth waiting for and that challenges take time to overcome. I feel grateful to have learned this from him, as it has helped me face many situations with a calm and positive attitude. This lesson will always be valuable to me, and I hope to pass it on to others one day. A childhood memory which impacted me as an adult. One memory from my childhood that has had a lasting impact on me is learning to ride a bike. I remember being very excited but also a little scared. My dad was there guiding me, holding the bike while I tried to keep my balance. Every time I fell, he encouraged me to get back up and try again. That simple moment taught me a lot about patience, perseverance, and the value of not giving up. At first, I was frustrated by falling. Every time I lost my balance, I felt like I would never learn to ride properly. But every time I wanted to give up, my dad would remind me that falling was part of the process. He would say, "Every time you fall, you get closer to learning." Those words stuck with me, and I began to view each fall as just another step toward improvement. Little by little, I improved. The day I finally rode alone without any help, I felt a great sense of accomplishment. That memory taught me the importance of perseverance and influenced how I approach challenges as an adult. Today, whenever I face challenging situations, I remember that learning to ride a bike took time and effort. Whether it's a new skill, a work project, or even a personal goal, I remember that success often requires patience and resilience. In conclusion, learning to ride a bike is more than just a fun childhood memory for me, it is a lesson in perseverance and patience that I carry with me into adulthood. This experience has shaped my attitude towards challenges, reminding me that hard work and resilience lead to progress, no matter how difficult things may seem at first. A joyful memory that makes me happy. Memories are powerful. Some memories can lift our spirits and bring us joy. One memory that always makes me smile is a family beach vacation when I was 10 years old. That trip was filled with laughter, fun, and beautiful moments. We traveled to a small coastal town. As soon as we arrived, I felt the warm sun on my skin and the smell of salty sea air. My family and I ran on the sand. I still remember running on the soft sand, feeling free and excited. The sound of the waves crashing against the shore was soothing. Every day was an adventure. We built giant sandcastles and splashed in the waves. One night, we had a picnic on the beach. My parents packed sandwiches and snacks. We sat on a blanket, watched the sunset, and shared stories. The sky turned bright orange and pink, creating a beautiful backdrop. Another highlight was when I learned to surf. My father took me on a small board. At first, I fell a few times, but I kept trying. Eventually, I stood up and rode a wave. The feeling of balance and joy was incredible. My family encouraged me, and I felt proud of this accomplishment. This memory brings me joy every time I think about it. It reminds me of the love and happiness I share with my family. It also teaches me the importance of appreciating the little moments in life. The beach trip wasn't just a vacation, it was a time of connection and laughter. In conclusion, this joyful memory is a treasure. It holds a special place in my heart. I remember this trip, I smile every time. It reminds me to cherish time with my loved ones and enjoy the simple pleasures of life. A moment that made me appreciate life more. One moment that made me appreciate life more was when I went to the hospital to visit a sick family member. I had never spent much time in a hospital before, and I didn't know what to expect. Walking down the halls and seeing patients in their rooms made me feel a deep gratitude for my own health. I realized how many people struggle with serious health issues, and it made me see life in a new light. When I saw my family member in a hospital bed, it hit me how fragile life can be. I felt worried and sad, but also grateful to be there for him, her. Spending time in the hospital made me realize that we should never take our health or our loved ones for granted. I used to see health as something that was just there, but I began to see it as something precious to be cherished daily. After this experience, I started making small changes in my life. I started taking care of my health by exercising more and eating healthy foods. I also tried to spend more time with my family and friends because I realized how important it is to show them love and appreciation. In conclusion, my visit to the hospital taught me to appreciate life and health more. It made me realize that life can change suddenly, and that we should not waste a single moment. Today, I try to live each day in gratitude and take care of myself and those I love. This experience reminded me how important it is to appreciate the simple things in life, because they are often the most meaningful. A place I traveled to, Paris, France. One of the most memorable places I have visited is Paris, France. Visiting this city was like entering another world. Paris is famous for its history, art, and beautiful architecture. As soon as I arrived, I noticed how different it was from my hometown. The streets were filled with people speaking French, and the buildings were elegant and old. One of the highlights of my trip was visiting the Eiffel Tower. Seeing it in person was incredible. I learned about its history and how it was built for the 1889 World's Fair. At first, many Parisians didn't like it, but now it's a symbol of Paris. It taught me that sometimes new ideas aren't always accepted right away, but over time, they can become important. I also visited the Louvre Museum, which is home to many famous works of art, including the Mona Lisa. Seeing these masterpieces up close was incredible. I learned about different art styles and how artists express emotions through their work. As I walked through the museum, I felt a strong connection to history and creativity. It made me appreciate art in a new way and taught me that art can bring people together, no matter where they come from. In Paris, I also discovered a new culture. I tasted French food, listened to French music, and learned a few French phrases. The people I met were friendly, and it was interesting to see how they live their daily lives. This experience taught me the importance of being open-minded and respectful of other cultures. In conclusion, my trip to Paris was more than just a vacation. It was an enriching experience that taught me about history, art, and the value of cultural exchange. Traveling to new places allows us to grow, learn, and understand the world better. A time I had to work hard for something and how it paid off. One of the experiences which taught me the value of hard work was when I prepared for my final exams at high school. It was one of the most challenging times for me. These scores were going to be used to judge my admissibility into a good college, and thus I was in much pressure to give the best result. For success, I understood that more time and effort is to be put into studying than ever before. I prepared a rigorous study schedule, apportioning time for each of the subjects. Sometimes, I would study several hours on end, starting right after school and into the evening hours. I also asked my teachers for extra help and availed myself of library study materials. Some days were tougher than others, and there were times when I really felt exhausted and wondered whether all that struggle would amount to much. But then again, I was able to remind myself that whatever effort I try to put in now would be helping me get back a good future. Of course, when the results were out, I had felt very happy. My hard work had paid off with marks higher than I had ever expected, qualifying me for a number of good college programs. This success boosted my academics and instilled a great belief and satisfaction within me. I came to understand that whenever I put in effort, I could indeed reach my goals, however exhaustive that path would be. In the long run, the hard work for my examinations taught me the value of dedication and perseverance. The results after all effort put in were really great and helped me instill belief in myself. That was an experience through which I learned that hard work really pays off, but when applied to a meaningful cause, it does. A time when I had to adapt to a new situation. One time I had to adjust to a new situation was when I changed schools. I was nervous because I didn't know anyone and I was worried about how I would fit in. Leaving behind my friends and familiar routines from my old school made the first few days overwhelming. However, I knew I had to adjust to my new surroundings and make the best of the situation. To manage this change, I started by focusing on small steps. I introduced myself to a few classmates and tried to join in conversations. Although it was uncomfortable at first, taking small steps helped ease the transition. I also joined a club that aligned with my interests. This helped me meet people who had similar hobbies. It was a good way to bond without feeling too much pressure. Finding people who enjoyed the same things as me made me feel less alone. Another thing that helped me was keeping a positive attitude. I reminded myself that a new school could be an opportunity to grow and learn new things. I tried to focus on the opportunities rather than dwelling on what I missed about my old school. This attitude allowed me to be less stressed and more open to new experiences. In conclusion, adjusting to a new school taught me how to face changes with patience and positivity. Taking small steps, finding common interests, and staying open-minded helped me adapt. This experience showed me that although new situations can seem difficult, they also offer opportunities to learn and grow. Now, I feel more confident about handling my future changes. A time when I realized the worth of friendship. Friendship is an indispensable part of life. It creates counterparts which provide comfort during hard times. One moment that really made me realize the importance of friendship was during my first year at high school. Everything was so new, and I didn't know anyone. I was nervous and out of place. I worried about fitting in and making friends. One day, I had this big math test. I studied hard, but by the time I reached class, I felt unprepared. I just sat at my desk feeling anxious, until my classmate Sarah approached me. She smiled and said, "Do you want to study together?" Surprised yet happy, we spent our lunch break going over math problems. She explained things I didn't understand. Her patience made me more confident. When the test day finally arrived, I was nervous once more. Sarah sat next to me and gave me a thumbs up. The support by her made me feel better. After the test, she said, "Whatever happens, we gave our best." And that was the moment when I understood that having someone who shares moments both good and bad makes a difference. The experience taught me the value of friendship. Friendships are not only about having a good time together, but it is also being there for one another. Friends get you through challenges and celebrate your successes. I learned that friendship can lift our spirits high, soothe our souls, and put our minds at ease. In other words, the time I shared studying with Sarah was when I knew what friendship truly was. It is being there with one another when things are not going so well. Now, I know the value of friendships more and more. They remind me that I never walk alone in my journey. It is friendship which allows life to be even richer and fuller. A time when I realized the worth of friendship. Friendship is an indispensable part of life. It creates counterparts which provide comfort during hard times. One moment that really made me realize the importance of friendship was during my first year at high school. Everything was so new, and I didn't know anyone. I was nervous and out of place. I worried about fitting in and making friends. One day, I had this big math test. I studied hard, but by the time I reached class, I felt unprepared. I just sat at my desk feeling anxious, until my classmate Sarah approached me. She smiled and said, "Do you want to study together?" Surprised yet happy, we spent our lunch break going over math problems. She explained things I didn't understand. Her patience made me more confident. When the test day finally arrived, I was nervous once more. Sarah sat next to me and gave me a thumbs up. The support by her made me feel better. After the test, she said, "Whatever happens, we gave our best." And that was the moment when I understood that having someone who shares moments both good and bad makes a difference. The experience taught me the value of friendship. Friendships are not only about having a good time together, but it is also being there for one another. Friends get you through challenges and celebrate your successes. I learned that friendship can lift our spirits high, soothe our souls, and put our minds at ease. In other words, the time I shared studying with Sarah was when I knew what friendship truly was. It is being there with one another when things are not going so well. Now, I know the value of friendships more and more. They remind me that I never walk alone in my journey. It is friendship which allows life to be even richer and fuller.